Hello there, I'm Moldy, and on Saturday I built a few sets live here on the channel, kickstarting 2025 live streams, which will take place nearly every single Saturday this year. Not only did I build some of my Christmas sets like this here Lego Knuckles mech, which is really cool, but I also put together the Paz Vizsla and Moff Gideon battle set from The Mandalorian Season 3. And though this set has been out for a while, and I'm not entirely sure why I didn't pick it up any sooner, I did pick up the Mandalore Ambush Battle Pack, which connects with this, so they're technically modular Lego sets. But just before we connect the both of them, let's go over this set for those of you that didn't join us in the live stream. Last year we got a brand new Paz Vizsla, which is so similar to the old one we got in 2021. Big difference is some metallic side printing on the side of the helmet. The buttons on the lower left torso of Paz Vizsla are a little darker, which makes them stand out a little less, but it works for the torso. And most notably, the only downgrade with the newer Paz Vizsla is the lack of crotch printing. That's right, there's no crotch printing on the newer Paz Vizsla, which there is on the older one. And though the printing is definitely a little better for the 3 years difference between them, if you do want to make the best Paz Vizsla, I would recommend picking up the legs from the previous version. As far as the backpack, the big difference I can tell is the lack of the 1x2 with a clip to store the weapon when Paz isn't carrying it, but it's not a massive deal, and it's a fairly easy piece to add if you want that. The other minifigures we get are 2 of the Praetorian Guards from The Mandalorian, which we've seen in the advent, but they do come with some really cool weapons. And probably the only minifigure worth buying this specific set for, Moff Gideon, who comes with a hairpiece and a really cool helmet that is a brand new mold, very similar to Gar Saxon from the final scenes of The Mandalorian, but it's a brand new mold, some really cool detailing. No side of the helmet printing like we saw with Paz, but at least Moff's got some crotch printing. The 4 minifigures LEGO have chosen for this scene really cannot be improved upon. The only thing I would say, if they built it out a little more and upped it to about a £50 set or £45, it would have been nice to have seen another Mandalorian so that Paz isn't dying alone. But that being said, there are a few different play features. First off, we have this stud shooter turret, which is very similar, I think, to a Lego Marvel set with the Hydra bots, but it did come first in Star Wars, so that's always a benefit. And underneath there is room to store all of this lethal ammunition. It's a little shame we can't fit Moff Gideon's helmet, but if you do want to put the helmet on the minifigure, just like so, there is actually enough space to store his hairpiece, which I think is pretty good. Though the big play feature in this scene is of course the door, which locks in itself when you lift it. You don't have to attach any studs like the Master Builder's Mos Eisley Cantina, and then with a flick of a lever the door slams shut and Paz's fate has been sealed, which is a pretty morbid play feature if you ask me. Taking a look at the back of the set, we do have a little enclosure which is very similar to R2 and 3PO stand in the trash compactor diorama, which does have a monitor and I guess a clip for a weapon, which is very similar to the battle pack. And behind the door there are a total of 5 studs. You could probably get about 3 minifigures standing, watching, which is really nice if you picked up the Mandalorian Battle Pack alongside this set. When combining these 2 sets together, I found it very interesting that LEGO not only tell you you can combine the Battle Pack with the more expensive set, but also with another Battle Pack. Now, I don't own any multiples of this Battle Packs because the Mandalorians aren't different enough and aren't generic enough for me to want to build an army, though I'd definitely love to get more of these Imperial Commandos. But because they combine in a line, you can combine as many as you want. However, taking a look at this set, which I get it's a door, how many doors are you going to want on your Mandalorian display? You can't combine this with another version of this set without using a battle pack as a spacer. But there are 2 ways for the set to combine, and it's a pretty solid connection, though you probably wouldn't want to be waving this about in the air because it's not that solid. It does look really cool continuing out the scene, and whilst the accuracy might not exactly be there, this is a rock wall which I'm sure has a load of different doorways to get in and out of the Imperial facilities, so I think it would work for any scene you're recreating. Not only does it only go on this side, but it also clips to the other side at a 90-degree right angle, which perhaps if you've got other things on display like a ship, or you want to build more of an interior and have a bit of fun playing with this, this would be my preferred connection. I think this also works really, really well because when the Mandalorians are trapped in the doorway, there's got to be another way they can leave, and that is where they get ambushed once again by the Imperial Commandos. So it's a bit of story building in the way you structure your sets. If you were to go out and spend hundreds on buying 4 of these doors and 4 of these battle packs, you could connect them in a giant square, which might not be the best for display purposes, but you could probably build this up with a ton of other slopes that are already in your collection, and this could start looking like a whole Imperial facility. But I'm not going to go out and buy 4 of them, though I would really love to see that. I might have to render it on Studio. One way I think the battle pack can be used, rather than just connecting it to the set, to improve the set and build it out a little more, which is probably what we're going to be doing to turn this into a diorama on Saturday's upcoming live stream, is to use the plates and pieces, the different wedge plates we've got at the bottom and some of the slopes, to build out the platform in front. So you can not only get the minifigures from this set, which are hanging on by a thread. There's not a lot of room to include minifigures in action poses and in different fights on the front, though that can definitely be improved by removing the little crates they have you put on front. In fact, you only get one with the set, but the nice thing about the battle pack is you get another, so you can stack them up to make it look like the poles we see in the scenes. Even if you do remove those crates, it only gives you space for one Imperial Praetorian to be in some sort of action pose fight scene with Paz Vizsla, and the other ones still hanging off. So I would definitely recommend trying to break up a battle pack. Perhaps you even bought a second one just for this purpose. You can have one connected and one expanding the front of the platform. I'm sure dark bluish and light bluish grey tiles are plenty for any of us Star Wars fans from any other ship, and I'm really intrigued to see how that's going to turn out. If you do end up expanding the platform, you can get the third and final Praetorian that does engage in a duel with Paz Vizsla, and we know there are more behind the scenes that will show up later on, but for recreating scenes, this does really, really well. And until Paz is restrained, Moff Gideon technically isn't part of the scene, like this giant turret that I'm pretty sure isn't anywhere near the platform. So for the highest accuracy, I think swapping Gideon out for another Praetorian, Gideon can be on another mock, perhaps include him on the battle pack with one of the many Mandalorian minifigures you've probably got by now, because he comes in every other set. It's so nice to not get Din Djarin or Grogu in either of these sets, because I'm running out of room to put all of them. But Gideon can definitely be leading the fight against these 2 Mandalorians here, and be sure to add the armor or any other, even your older Paz minifigure does work with this scene. And you can't forget about these crates that if you do not have room out the front, you can always hide them in the back. But once again, I just want to remind you that Saturday, 7 PM UK time, we will be making a diorama out of both of these sets, so I hope to see most of you there. And that is all for my review play experience. I'm not quite sure what this video turned out to be, but I hope you did enjoy it. Drop a like if you did. Subscribe for more Lego Star Wars as we approach May 4th, 2025. We got Star Wars Celebration before that, and check out the 2 videos on screen now. May the bricks be with you always.